People. What?
Yay.
Hello there, Dr. Dave.
Well, hello there, Ms. Diva Brenda.
How are you
How
today? Tonight? This
fantastic.
evening?
Awesome. How are you?
I am good, good. So, welcome everybody, whoever's watching us. Yes, it's a little bit of a different time of day that we're doing this. We thought we'd just check it out and see what it's like to do it in the evening and see if that works better. So, we're just being flexible and, seeing what works best. So, we are going to be talking about. I have a new light here that's like shining right here, but it's not a circle light, so you can't see the circles in my eyes. So I do
Mm.
it this way. So we're going to be talking about my book, What If? And all the positive possibilities. So, yes.
What what might be a way that people can get your book in their hands?
Well, you can go to Amazon. It's listed all over the world in Amazon. So it's in amazon.ca.com, .uk, and all the other ones as well. So there's also a journal. It's green, like the back here, and it's called the What If Positive Possibilities Journal, and it's 350 pages. So it's quite a thick, nice book. So and it's got different questions in there. It doesn't have the same what ifs, but just different prompts and things like that can help you along your journey. And if you watch the oracle cards as well, my journal is on its way. So I believe by tomorrow that the Nature's Divas Daily Journal will be up on the site as well on Amazon. And it is a beautiful orange journal book, and it's also 350 pages. So I'm going to be doing a class. I don't have the date yet, but I'm going to be doing a year with the divas. So we've got a 12-year or 12 circles. We're going to go through. You get a deck of oracle cards. You get the journal. We go through and we see what the year ahead is going to be like for you. And, just talk about the divas and have a fun day. So that's going to be coming up soon, as well as a what if 6-week program.
Awesome.
That is in the mix as well. So I just have some things that I'm working on right now, but once those are done, I will be able to put some dates in place and then I will let you guys know. So, yeah,
Oh,
so
sorry.
yeah,
Can anybody get that digital format?
yes, it's on Kindle.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. So I'd like you to just take a nice deep breath in and out. And what I'm going to do, one of the fun ways to read this, if you don't want to go from the front to the back, is just ask, what is the message for today? And then open it up. And what your eyes land on, that is your message for the day. Oh, look at this.
This will be good.
It will. What if today I honored myself? Kind of fits right in line with the
Oh gosh.
divas that we were just
That's
talking
awesome.
about. So let's see what's going to be talked about today. Do you take time to pat yourself on the back for a job well done? Do you take the time to look and list all of the awesome things you have accomplished? Do you think you're an amazing, special person? If no, why not? Our lives are meant to be lived. You have accomplished amazing things. You have lived through difficult times and come out the other side.
Literally said that.
Just said that word for word.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Funny how the universe
I
works,
love
isn't
it. So
it?
good. So good.
All these things are to be celebrated and noted. Sometimes, by the way we speak and treat ourselves, we can be our own worst enemy. It is time to acknowledge the things you have accomplished, lived through, and created. Don't forget to recognize what you're doing now. Take these things and honor yourself by sharing them with others. You have a perspective on things that are yours and yours alone. Consider sharing these things with the world. How would you express them? Think of when you were going through a difficult situation. Would it have been helpful to speak to someone who had lived through it and was able to help you guide your path? Or perhaps they could have shown you a different perspective on the situation. You have the ability now to help others. Honor yourself by sharing your gifts with the world. Wow,
Awesome.
that just wraps it up in a nice little package. So
Absolutely does.
if you're wondering what we're talking about, we just did the episode for Nature's Divas, and this just puts the cherry on the top of what we were talking about in Nature's Divas and the oils to use as well. So if you're looking at more of a deep dive, go back and check out the episode for Nature's Divas, and you'll be like, wow, look at how that all just came together. And I didn't choose this myself. I just opened it up and read the first thing that I saw. So this is the universe going, this is what you're picking today. So,
Mhm.
and the cards, when I shuffle them, they fly out. I don't pick them ahead of time. So this is all the universe just
Mhm.
going, hey, we're going to talk about this today. So it's like, okie doke. So this is, it's a lot of fun to see these things in motion. And even last
Mhm.
year, we talk about things and then go, wouldn't that be a good class? Oh, well, maybe we should do that. And you just see the progression of how
Yeah.
one little idea or one little sentence just expands into something else. And we all have the ability to do that if we're in tuned and we're connected to source.
You said in tune, right?
In tuned, yeah.
In tuned. Got it.
In tuned.
Because it sounded like in toot.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
huh, well, that too.
There's no toots. There is an ice cream called Unicorn Toots, I will tell you right
No
now.
way.
They sell it in Port Colborne at the golf course, and I took my granddaughter there, and she had unicorn toots, and so did my grandson, and they just loved it. So yes,
Nice. What does that taste like, by the
so
way?
it's rainbows.
Of
Unicorn toots are rainbows.
course. I love
There's
it.
that
So sorry.
rainbow of colors that you need
Mm.
to eat, just like I was saying
Which
before, not
yes,
Skittles, but unicorn toots.
just talked about it yesterday. Oh my goodness. I love it.
Funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm
So
reading.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I was standing there reading all the the ice cream things. I mean, unicorn toots. Yeah, we want that one. It's like, okay, that's fine. Nanny's gonna have chocolate. But to honor yourself, it's always for all my clients that I speak to and teach, I always ask them to begin this it's like a living journal. So you get a book, foil book, whatever kind of book you want, and each year that you've been alive, you write that year on the top. So year 1, year 2, or the year you were born, or whatever. And you leave 2 pages for each year. And you go all the way to right now. And then it doesn't have to be specific, like, oh, I don't remember the date and time of that. It doesn't matter. But even if you have like in the vicinity, you write down what you did. So for instance, if you graduated high school, write it down if you remember what year you graduated, or, it doesn't matter. It's just that it's written down.
Mhm.
And then if you graduated college or university, or you took classes, or you learned new skills, write those down. And it helps you start to remember other things. Like, oh, I remember when I helped this person out and they said thank you and it really spoke to me. Write it down. And all these different things, it'll start that memory bank going, oh, remember you did this? And oh, remember you did that? And then it's like, oh, yeah, I did. Look at me. So it's nice because we will have days where it's like, I'm having a sucks to be me day and nothing I do works. And, you have that whole, you're just going down the rabbit hole and there's no getting you out of there. But you have this book to read at and to see, you know, I've done a lot of cool stuff in my life. And you just, it brings you out of that to say, you know what? You're doing a darn good job and you're all right. You're okay. Whatever you're
Mhm.
doing is okay. And it really starts to speak to your spirit that, huh, not half bad. Look at me.
Right, yeah.
It is,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
it's just, and having your children, if you've had children, or if you've had pets, if you've rescued animals, or you're a pet mom or dad, that
Mhm.
matters because you're caring for another living thing. Maybe you rescue things and, just all these things, whatever it is that you do that speaks to your heart, write it down because it's really cool. It's part of who you are. And you're honoring those skills and just the way you see life and the beauty that surrounds you. Like I was writing stuff down and then I'm like, oh yeah, because I was the oldest in the subdivision that we lived in. We moved in there in 1969, so I was the oldest at the age of 4. But I got all the babysitting jobs when I was like 11.
Mm,
Yeah, that wouldn't happen now, but when I was
mm,
11, I was babysitting. When I was 7 or 8, I'd take them across the, like, little kids, like my brother, like 5 years younger than me, and all his friends. I'd gather them all up, take them across the road, and I'd teach them all about the trees and nature and all the tracks and the mud.
mm,
And that came out, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And I used to teach them crafts, and we'd do stuff all the time. I'd forgotten that. And now here I am working with essential oils and trees and nature and all those different things. And I had forgotten about that. So it's just, all these different things just are made up of who you are.
mm,
And it's really good to remember that and honor yourself and acknowledge that you're pretty amazing, even though you don't think so. Well, I really haven't done that much. Yeah, you have. You just got to dig a little deeper
mm,
into that memory bank and go, all right. And it doesn't have to be done in a day. Like just jot down the things you can remember, those main points that and then it'll start. And I'll be like,
mhm,
oh yeah, I remember I did this. Or, I wrote a poem, or, I shared something with somebody and it really helped them, or whatever it is.
mhm,
Before you know it, those pages start filling up and you keep remembering more stuff. And it's just really cool. And then it's a legacy for you to leave your kids as well. Be like, holy crap, look what mom did, That's pretty awesome.
mhm.
So, it's really because when you're going along every day, it's just like go to sleep, you wake up, you do your stuff, and it just becomes second nature when it's really amazing things that you're doing that are changing the lives of a lot of people. And you just don't know it until you start writing it down. So, honor yourself and try that out. Dr. Dave, what have you got to say about
Mm.
it?
Yeah, one of the wonderful things about when we start to do those journaling and accounting of all of that, what's really nice is that because it's your experience that you're writing down, you don't have to prove it to your subconscious mind. It already knows that's the truth. So then you are fast tracking into being able to know that it's believable and doable and that you can shift super fast out of that negative space that you were in, that you're not as limited as you were thinking you were. It would be different if you went to some workshop or a class, have a life coach, whatever, and they're telling you, let's do these steps. There's some trust there that has to happen. There has to be believability of what it is they're telling you. But by doing this journaling of just some of your accomplishments, that part's already taken out. It's already been done. You've done this already. You've accomplished these things. So you know that there's more to come. There's more that I can do. I've done these, so then let's take it for a ride. How much more can I do? You're just leaping into that next phase, and it's going to dramatically change that frequency and vibration and bring you up faster so that you can get out of the frequency of negative wherever you happen to be in that moment. There was something on I remember whether it's Instagram or Facebook. Somebody had it was a post something about a jar, like a mason jar of finding happy words that you like that are favorites of yours and put them on a piece of paper and throw them in. And then the days that you need to take some withdrawals to get some more positivity, grab one, and go, oh yeah, that one, I love that one. And it instantly will shift just a little bit of that frequency and energy that you have because at that moment, you can then begin realizing you have a choice. Do I want to stay tuned into negative 101 or do I want to do 101.5 because that's a little bit better? Yeah, let's go there. Oh, hey, I think that there's some more good stuff over here. So then you begin that whole process of changing and moving and going through that emotional, what is that? Um, Scale. You're moving up the emotional scale of frequency, and it's scientific based. You can't go from hopelessness to joy in one step. It's impossible. You physically, mentally, spiritually cannot do that. You have got to go through those steps, but it's your choice on how long it takes you to get to arrive at each one of those. And so by going through a little bit by little bit by little bit, great, awesome. Or do you want to get on the escalator and like, let's move this on? Great. Then probably get your head out of your ass and start doing what we're supposed to do. You know that. I mean, it's kind of one of those, but it's all self-talk. Like, how long do you want to let yourself be here? And how long are you going to say that it's serving you, even though we both know that it's not serving you? Okay, well, then move or stay. Either one, all your choice. If that's serving you, then great. Um, it's still serving you. It is absolutely serving you. Being miserable is serving you. And I believe that we call that victim. Yes, we did, because that's exactly what it is. That's your victim stance. And however long you would like to keep that as your mantra, it will serve you. It will get you out of everything and anything you need. Because who wants to be around the victim? Who wants to stay in that negative space? It's completely draining. And so the folks that actually have good boundaries, I'm like, okay, that's what you're doing. Hmm. I think the cat needs water. I mean, the plant needs water. I mean, I need water. Talk to you later. Bye. You
Oh,
know?
you need water, do you?
Do you like how I threw that in there? Yeah.
I like that.
But it's all our, but out of all of that, if the only thing that you've heard, I would be so thrilled. Just that one thing to take away from all of that stuff that I just said is you have a choice. It's your choice. Always. We always, always, always have a choice. So if we begin to summon the courage to ask, what choice are we making right now? If it's not of your liking, if it's not suiting you, if it's not in the direction that you want to be in or go to, change it. No one else gets to do that. It is absolutely our choice. Love it.
Absolutely. It was
Um,
funny. Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, can you tell me again what the the what if phrases,
What
please?
if today I honored myself?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's That's pretty much it. Just didn't say the same words.
Yep,
It's
pretty much.
because it's honoring you have a choice. Because you don't get to honor you unless you recognize that you do have the power to have a choice. And wow, didn't we just say that on our last episode?
We did. Yes, we did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What were you going to say before I rudely interrupted you?
Oh, no, that's okay. Um, my daughter was telling me the other day, so I have a granddaughter, I have grandchildren, and my granddaughter, or any of my grandkids, when they get in a snit or they start pouting, it's like, oh, we're in Grumpy Land, are we? Oh, okay. So you're not allowed to smile. This is not a smiley place. Nana's house, you're not allowed to smile here. You're not allowed to grin. You're not allowed to smile. You're not allowed to be happy. Nothing. And then they're sitting there, uh, nope, nope. And then they start laughing and it goes on. So I've always done this with my grandkids and they're out of their little slump in no time. So my daughter and my granddaughter went to their friend's house the other day, and she has kids around my granddaughter's age. And so the one was having a meltdown. So my granddaughter goes up to her and says, oh, I see you're in Grumpy Land. Well, you're not allowed to smile. And the word for word, what I said. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that just warms my heart listening to Nanny all these times. And before you knew it, the other kid was laughing and she was out of that. But yeah, my granddad just went over there and it's like, oh, you're in Grumpy Land. Well, you're not allowed to smile here. So it was quite cool. And that's
Yeah.
something that it's like, you're bringing joy, even though it's reverse psychology, you're bringing joy
Yeah.
to all these little children who get grumpy, and within a couple of minutes, they're out of their funk and playing and
Mhm.
things like that. So it's, just those little things
Mhm.
that make a difference. It doesn't have to be these grand gestures or anything, even those little things or things you do with your grandkids to make them smile or, whatever you do that brings you joy when you're with them, write it down because it all matters.
Mhm.
Those are the things that matter, those memories. And, you can't, those are priceless.
Mhm.
So it's so important.
That's speaking right to our inner child of being able to find the silliness in some of the ridiculous things that we get stuck in as adults and um in adulting. I love being able to do that to other folks. I mean, it's especially adults when you're seeing they're having a tantrum or whatever that is, they're just but especially like driving, I guess nowadays you have to be kind of careful. You can see somebody that's just like sitting at a light, and I remember this guy, you could tell he was fuming, and I had no idea why or what, but we happened to be. I pull up the light, and he's there, and he's stewing, and I'm so he looks at me like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, and so I did exactly what he was doing. And so then I looked over again, and I looked back at him, and I stuck my tongue out, and he died laughing. Because I made sure I laughed really fast after that, so he knew that I was joking and not like jerk.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But he did. He followed that lead and just realized how ridiculous he probably must have looked, and it gave a moment to just take a different look. Like, okay, that dude's more whacked than I am right now. Either one, it's a win because it changed it. It was so funny. It was great. Um, and as adults, we don't even come close to taking as many of those opportunities that we can help one another change by just showing that kindness of fun, of silliness. We forget that that can be so wonderful and so easy and so fast to change. Because as kids, they're not going to ask you or think in their head like, well, what does that mean? She's better now. She's making the rules here too. So it's an adult kind of thing that we would do. Like, well, you own this one too, you know. They don't do that. But they find like right to the core of it. They find the intention of it is that we're trying to change that, and how ridiculous or how funny that can be. So um, even if it's out of spite, because that's kind of what that is. Like, oh yeah, yes I can laugh. And we know that's why what we're doing, but um, it's how many times and opportunities do we ever give ourselves permission to do that to ourselves? I think that is one of the greatest gifts that we can ever give ourselves. Um, I am usually always entertained, and I don't need anybody else. I got plenty of material right here. So I do, because if you keep it, it doesn't mean that there isn't there aren't those serious times or that inflect introspect. Wow, those were like four words altogether. See,
I see that.
constant entertainment. um, that it's there's always that time that what's appropriate and what's not. You know, it doesn't mean that you just laugh off everything, but we rarely are ever in that category. It's usually way too serious all the time.
Yeah.
So when we can shift and change into that and just bring some of that and give ourselves permission to laugh or snicker at ourselves, like, well, that was fun. You know, but and we do that by example. You and I do it all the time. I mean, pretty much that's all of every show,
Pretty much, yep.
especially the parts that are not recorded. But I think that that's one of the wonderful vibration, because it is still it's an attracting quality, attracting pattern of vibration that people will always want to be part or even uh, be magnetized towards that higher frequency, which is laughter, which is joy, as opposed to the negative, yucky feelings. Because who wants more of that other than the Grinch?
Exactly. And it's just like, if you can laugh at yourself, because life isn't serious, it's supposed to be fun.
Mhm.
And I have been told while I was at this event one time, and I was sitting on a chair, minding my own business, just sitting there, enjoying. It was outside, it was in the summertime, looking around, and I was with my friend Vanessa. She was part of the thing that was going on. So she comes over and she's like, wow. I'm like, what? She's like, I've had a couple people come over and ask me, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing. And she goes, the look on your face says otherwise. And I guess these people wouldn't even come anywhere near me because of the look on my face. And I'm like, I'm I'm just sitting here. Like I'm happy, and just I don't have a 24-hour grin on my face, but then I was looking through pictures the other day, and my mom, uh, she looks miserable in every single picture.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, ew, I see where I got that.
Mm.
Then my daughter proceeds to tell me, she's like, I'm at the store one day, and she goes, I looked up, and this lady was glaring at me and gave me the dirtiest look. So she put her head down, and then she's thinking, hold on a minute. I haven't done anything wrong. So I gotta look up. So she looks up. She had been looking in the mirror.
No.
She was like, oh. So I guess it runs through our family, this, RBF thing. And yeah, so we don't look happy most of the time, but we are. We just don't look it, we're laughing on the
Wow.
inside.
Oh, that's great. And I'm sure she's happy you said that
Oh,
story.
probably. Well, I didn't name which one it was, so there's still some guessing there. But yeah, it was funny. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, that's too funny. That's a good
That's
one.
awesome. Wow. Oh,
But
that'd
to
be
laugh at
terrible.
yourself, like when I started Facebook Lives, I was totally terrified. And my friend Vanessa is like, you gotta get on Facebook Lives because that's how people are gonna know. And I'm like, mm-mm. Nope, nope, nope. She's like, well, nobody's gonna know you're here unless you get on Facebook Live. So I'm like, whatever, So after like 3 months of terrifying, thoughts going through my head, I'm like, okay, I'll set a date. And then I decided to do the Facebook Live on the computer, which is just a big no-no because then it comes up with all this other stuff. So I told my friends that I was going to be on Facebook Live so they could all join. So while I'm trying to read all this stuff on the screen, I'm getting bing, 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 bing. Where are you? We're on here. We can't see you. Blah, 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 blah. And they just kept coming. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I closed that down, and Vanessa's like, what happened? I'm like, well, I was doing it on the computer. She's like, don't do it on the computer. Do it from your phone. All right. Made another date. Did it on the phone. So Vanessa goes on there to support me as the good friend she is. And she's like, I can see up your nostrils. Thank you, Vanessa. And then she's like, yeah. And so I'd get all these messages and like, okay, I'm going to move this here because Vanessa could see up my nose and my head's cut off. And so she was very helpful, but it helped me laugh at myself and get very comfortable because it's like, holy crap, like how am I supposed to say anything when you're saying, I can see up your nose, change it.
Right.
Why isn't your phone sideways? Like I told you it should be, and all these, it's like, oh, fine. So
Mhm.
it's just like, all right, and I think if you can laugh at yourself and go, it's not that serious. It just makes life a little bit easier
Mhm. A lot easier.
and more fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, lots of those fun moments.
Yes. Yes, they are a lot of fun. And they just keep coming.
It's fun now to get to watch folks because now that we're post pandemic and most everyone is really familiar with Zoom of some sort, and but way back when it was brand new, um, and we had actually it was a TV and radio show that we had done, and we had folks all over yeah, there was other folks in different countries. But this was run like a TV show. Like it was like you had to log into this Procaster, and that was super intimidating. And and I ended up getting thrown into it to do this to help out our friend because something happened. The producer couldn't get to her house that did everything behind the scenes for everybody, but then
Oh
there's two
no.
shows to go on, and so the host, she's like, "Can you just like hop on and I'll try to walk you through?" I'm like, "You mean produce it?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm not on camera, so sure." And I'm like, okay, what's that mean? What's the this is flashing? Is it supposed to? And that's what she's doing is she's like stuck, can't get there. And the host is trying to just have her spiritual, show going on,
My
connecting and
goodness.
giving messages, and it ended up being great. And so then the next week they're like, so how about you produce her show, the first one, and then you do yours after? I'm like, what? No, what? No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm happy here, and I will mind the chat room for her and give those heads up. And yet, no, the following week, guess who had a show?
It's not that bad after you
Mm,
do it, but
no,
leading up to it, holy
mm,
crap. It's
yeah,
like, oh, all these things are going through my mind and it was not fun. And then I did it and I went, that's it. Like, seriously, I was
yeah.
worried about that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and especially now. I mean, there's such a huge change from before the pandemic to now. I mean, from before the pandemic, there were still you were supposed to have um the production skill of network TV. I mean,
Mm.
you had everything running very smoothly, and you've got this flying in, and you got the bottom third that comes across with your name and number and email. You got to hit this button to send that across to make sure you stop this at this question, and all that stuff. And now uh, they're like, "Are you in the bathroom?" It has the best acoustics. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Just don't flush, please, because I don't need to hear that, because that's happened.
Oh my
I can't
goodness.
find the mute button fast enough for the audience. Like, oh my God. Because yeah, it's happened. Oh, I happen to be helping somebody with a webinar and I'm like, did I just hear that? Oh my. And I'm trying to be like, whose mic is open and mute? Uh, fun times.
Yeah, absolutely. And like growing up, I was terrified to speak in front of people. Terrified because it was like people kids weren't nice
Mm,
back
yeah.
when, and you got laughed at and it was horrible.
Hmm.
So I'd run off the stage crying many a time
Oh,
because my mind would just go blank and then it's like, nope, not doing this, and off I'd run.
mm,
Because that was part of school. You had to do public speaking. And
really?
oh yeah. Yep,
Hmm.
you had to. It was mandatory.
Wow.
So yeah, it was nasty. So it was not fun. And then, I was growing well when I got my store and the my friend Carol that started as manager, she goes, I see you talking in front of like thousands of people. And I'm like, you're crazy. Because that's not gonna happen. But then I
Mhm.
did some past life regression and found out why I didn't like speaking in public. And then I'm like, yeah, well, that makes sense. And, I started talking in front of, small groups of like 3 people. And then it grew. And now it's like, that's all right.
Yeah.
It's not a big
Nice.
deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, for years, I was just terrified. I couldn't speak to more than 2 people at a time. Terrible.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
What a
So
difference.
that could be part of, like if you were terrified, but now you can speak in public, that would be something you could write in your book because that is a
Absolutely.
huge skill. Huge
Yeah,
skill.
absolutely. That's not a small hurdle.
No, that is not a small hurdle. And if you can do that, then, that's a huge thing. So
Yeah.
even those little things that you have overcome
Hmm.
are good things to write in the book because
Well,
it all adds up.
absolutely. And the smallest things, if you have to start with the smallest things that don't even seem like they're that big of a deal, they might be enough that you need for one to help find that ridiculousness sometimes in the middle of it. So I'm like, well, I'm sure that most folks that are watching learned how to be body trained. I'm hoping most.
Yep.
Well, hey, there's a win. Start there.
Hey, you learn to sit up.
Yay.
You can still do that.
Right.
Walk and run and jump and all these things. And as a baby, you didn't have to be told, well, try again because it didn't work on the first time. And you had to keep at it and keep at it and keep
Right.
at it and keep at it. And as babies, you knew that. It's like, I got to keep
Hmm.
at this or I'm
Innate.
not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
Right.
But then as
Yes.
adults, it's like, well, I tried it once and it wasn't very good, so I'm not doing it again. And it's like, well, are you supposed to be Picasso if you paint one thing? No, you have to practice at it
Right.
and you put your passion into it. And
Hmm.
it's the
Yeah.
joy of continuing to do something and getting good at that and mastering it instead of, well, I tried it once and it didn't work, so I'm not doing it again.
Mm.
Well, that never works. You're not going to
Yeah.
get too far.
Hmm. Absolutely. So I think that like the takeaway is celebrate any of the wins that we have
Hmm.
and celebrate them that way. It is still a win. And I did paint one thing. Okay. Well, there you did one. It's still a win. I woke up today. Well, hey, there's your first win.
Absolutely. And if you
Eh,
got through the day and you're struggling, then that's a huge win.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
got dressed or you ate something or you got up and, did an errand. That's a win. Huge, huge
Hmm.
wins. And that's important.
We've unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, but kind of fortunately, we've both had the wonderful experience lately, the past year or so, of how much of a win it is to be able to not pass out from having a shower, of not having enough energy. You know, oh my God, that's a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
Most folks would never think that that's even like, what? Of course. No, no. When you're not able to do that or barely making it, it's a win. And I didn't have to call 911 to get me out of here. There's a win.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from wherever you're at. That's the part I think that is most important there is it's wherever you are and it's your win,
Yeah.
not anyone else's. So take your win and compare it to no one or no thing, just you.
Absolutely. And I've got a really awesome story to share with everybody. As a social service worker, I was a program administrator at our hostel and at our shelter. And we would have this one individual come in and she would do the intake and everything, and then she'd be gone for days. And then, we wouldn't see her for a couple months. We were hoping she was okay. And then she'd come back and do the whole intake again. Then she'd be gone again. And then she did this for quite a few years. And then the one time she came and did the intake and she stayed. And I was talking to her and I'm like, great job. You stayed the night. That is so awesome. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, usually you were out of here. We do the intake and you'd be gone. But you stayed the night. You stayed here. And that is huge. And so she kind of like, oh, I did something good. Yeah, you did. So wherever I would, whenever I would speak to the guests that we had, it was always like, well, you did this. This is awesome. You did one step more than you did before. And just to have them recognize that I can see that and they're doing something for themselves really gave that power back to them and went, I'm not a total loser or whatever they were thinking. And it's like,
Mhm,
I did something good, So it helped them stand straighter. It
mhm,
helped their positivity and their self-esteem. And it was really, really cool to see because you could, and it's like, well, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a huge deal because usually you'd be out of here and who knows what was going on, but you stayed here. You knew this was a safe place and you stayed. So, whatever struggles anybody's going through right now or challenges, just that extra step, it's another minute or another second if you're going second by second. It's another second that you're here
mhm.
and you make a difference. It's important that you're here. And it's important that you figure out what that is. So even if you don't have the energy to get up, just close your eyes and imagine this white light flowing into you and just ask, what am I here for? And just wait for the answer.
Mhm.
And it will come.
Always,
Yeah.
without doubt, for sure. Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm.
Oh, I love that. That's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll always remember that one. It's like, yeah, there's so many interesting people and just, helping them to see what I saw in them,
Yeah.
you know, because they were all really very special.
Mhm.
And they all had wonderful qualities, even though they didn't see it in themselves.
Right.
And, you look at, if there's people out there that, shun people that are struggling with addictions or mental health, it's like if you look at them as a small child and their face at Christmas time and just like the joy, and then it's like they didn't ask to grow up to be homeless or to have mental health issues or to be have addiction issues. Something happened, some trauma happened that caused this, that led them down this path.
Mhm.
So I always look at them as that little child that is pure.
Mhm.
And something happened, and it was pretty awful. And this is their way of coping through that. So if I can step in there and show them how awesome they are, then it's really, really important to do that. And for anybody to do that, if you
Mhm.
see somebody struggling, let them know how important they are, because everybody's important. We're all here for a
Absolutely.
reason. You know?
Absolutely. For sure.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful message. It not it's not emphasized and said enough for us just to have that capacity to recognize that there's more to
Mhm.
people than what you see or think you see. And what we could do an entire series about that whole process of they're seeing people differently and giving permission to see somebody differently. So just as you're talking about seeing the homeless person or even the addicts, if we could get people just to take one notice or one step, one breath, to know that something so traumatic happened in their life, that was the only way that they literally could live through whatever that was.
Mhm.
When do people take that 1 second to go, I have no idea what you're going through or what you've been through? It had to be something pretty significant if that was the only way that you could survive it.
Yeah.
You survived it, so there's a win. Is there other things that need to get worked out through that? Of course. But just that one moment could completely reset absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Their entire energy system, your energy system, just giving them that instant of grace of what you survived.
Mhm. And smiling at people.
Yeah.
Those ones with the RBF, just giving them a quick smile, and then it's like, oh, you get a smile back because you forget what you're looking like on the outside,
Right.
you know?
Especially when it's you in the mirror.
Mhm. Absolutely. But, like if you are struggling, reach out,
Mm,
let somebody know, talk to somebody. Because I know there's lots of people out there that care about you and want to help. They just
mhm.
don't know how.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it can be just as simple as going, I'm having a shortage of positive thoughts today. I wonder if you could lend me one.
Yeah.
And how fast and easy is it for somebody not in the situation to be able to like, well, you asked, so there's a win. You
Hmm.
actually asked. It was not something that you just kept in. There's a win. You know, let's just start
Absolutely.
backing it back and like, holy cow, you knew that something was wrong and you actually recognize you're not going to do yourself good. So yeah, somebody else. Oh, hey, there's another win.
Yep.
Like, let's start racking these things up. Let's do this.
Hmm. Yeah, you might get a second big journal, to write all the extras in. But
Yeah.
try it and see,
Mhm.
and it'll just start those wheels turning because your mind's now going to be looking for all the good things,
Yes.
cool things, and your accomplishments and your skills and all these things. And it's just going to keep running on that instead of negativity and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's a great process to do for sure.
Some really incredible fun stuff. Like
Hmm.
so important, especially, I want to say especially now, but that sounds pretty cheesy. It's always important. But right now, there's a lot of things that folks are having hard time trying to find any of the positives and how to turn things around for themselves. Um,
Stop
and so,
watching the news, first of all. Don't watch the news. Don't read the newspapers. Shut it off.
and those are wins. If that's what's contributing to your decline and you turned it off, yay, another win.
Hmm? Yep.
Anything can be a win. I mean, there's always a positive because if there's negative, there has to be positive. It's a universal law. So it's what channel do you want to listen to? What channel do you want to focus in on? Your choice.
Because there's always going to be that negativity and
Hmm.
sensationalism because that's
Hmm.
what sells.
Hmm.
But you don't have to feed into that. You can look at, well, what was, good today? Did somebody help somebody out? Did somebody help out a neighbor? And look for those good things because they're everywhere. All
Hmm.
those good things are everywhere, and they don't get talked about at all.
Hmm.
It's all the crap that gets talked about and built up and all this negativity where it's like we should be talking about all the wonderful things that people are doing, banding together as a
Yeah.
community and helping one another out. Those
Hmm.
are the important things to focus on because the more positivity we have in this world, the more we can change it instead of a negative black hole.
Yes. I want that news channel. Like it's all day breaking news of all the great things that are happening.
Wouldn't that be
And it,
awesome?
oh, I love that idea. Like
We should
this
start something
just
like
in.
that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I better write that one down.
This is so cool.
Later.
I mean, that could be like a ticker tape or something, like on that people can like add in or something. All these wonderful wins.
Yeah,
That's awesome. The happy
write it
news.
down. That's going to percolate for a bit.
And for some reason it's not, I can't think of the phrase that they use. Um on NBC, they've got a spot in their morning shows that there's morning boost is what they call it. It's the morning boost. So they make sure that they plug in some of those really fun, or it's usually kids a lot of funny, awesome, great wins that just makes your heart melt,
Uh,
especially after a series of any of the stories that have been not the greatest, or what's happening or weather and that kind of that's any of that. They're like, okay, we totally need a morning boost. It's part of the regular programming. And that started back in during the pandemic that and now they get to do uh like recaps of all of them, and then they have a countdown at the end of the year of the best morning boosts, and then they get
oh,
rated about like
nice.
how good are they, and they're always just awesome. It's always so good. So it's in the right direction,
Yep.
for sure. And I want that channel then. That's
Yeah,
that
just
all
cut
day
out all
long.
the negativity and just focus
Yep.
on the positive because
Yep.
there's enough
There's
of that out there.
tons. Yeah.
Yep.
Create your own. What I guess that's a great example there is like with all the crap that you got going on in your life, when are you putting in those boosts, those mood boosts? Just
Right.
grab one. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love watching whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. A lot of stuff comes from TikTok, but I get on the other side. And it's those things that I will just watch, like kids and animals and stuff. I'm like, I love it. And
Yeah.
that's why, but again, it's exactly the same as how we treat our world. What are you tapping into? I'm like, there's something that's like a crash or something. I'm like, nope. Next one, next one. Like, oh, look at that puppy. So it's
This is one
it's
of
all
squeezes.
yeah, yeah. So it's how we actually relate within our world. Like I'm going to focus on those other things. Does it mean that none of the other is happening? No, not of course not.
Mhm.
But I'm going to choose that I'm going to do a lot more positive as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And so it's how we choose it. It's always a choice. Did you get that it's a choice? I hope I've said that enough. I think I'll have to
We have
resubscribe
free will.
to my, like, thank God I don't have to pay for how many times I use that word.
Yeah, it's important. And, just look for those things. If you start out in the morning going, okay, what miracles
Hmm.
am I going to be part of or see today? And
Hmm.
then keep an eye out for them.
Yes.
It might be the sunrise, the beautiful colors. You might see a hawk. You might see any number of animals, and they all have messages for you. So
Yeah.
those are all miracles. Because the way I look at it, like if I'm going somewhere and I see a hawk, and because hawks are, we have a lot of hawks around here, and it's like if I had left even a few moments before, I would not have seen that.
Hmm.
So it's all in divine timing. So when I'm going out and I'm seeing beauty of whatever I notice, that is there for me at that specific time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when you can wrap your head around that, it boggles your mind on how the
Mhm.
universe has placed all these things in your path. And once you're aware of them, then you can really appreciate the beauty of nature and how we're all connected.
Mhm.
And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I, I agree 1000%. And it's hilarious that you're just talking about hawk
Did
because
a
I
hawk
get
fly
to
past your window again?
no,
Oh,
no, a little bit earlier is the whole thing, but because um I get to see them quite often. I love, I mean, it's always a game to me, see how many on the road that I get to see and how many I get blessings from, wherever I'm going. But today, my friend Denisha and I were leaving Starbucks because we had a powwow and we had to sit down, and we come out and we both stopped and just like, I'm not, that's not possible. We watched four of them, and they're usually not together like
no.
twos, let alone four. And we kept like,
Wow.
no, that can't be a hawk because they were like quite a ways away. But then as they started to move, and then we could see the color, and I'm like, yep. And then I could hear it. We could start hearing them chipping at each other. So it was a family, and they were getting taught how to, they were
Aw.
being taught, yeah, hunting and everything else and stuff. And so we're standing in the middle of Starbucks parking lot, like in the drive-through lane. We're just like, "Whoa." But then people are like, they're coming in, and then you see their heads pop out of their car, and they're like, "Oh my goodness!" It was incredible. And today, really, there was when you choose to connect into source and just be a part of that magic. I don't look to see if I get to see magic. I expect it.
Mhm.
Always expect it. It's just for me to make sure that I'm watching so that I get to recognize it when it's happening.
Yeah.
And so like just that little thing alone was, how many folks had never even thought about looking and checking it out?
Mhm.
Because I remember the one person like, is that them that I'm hearing? I'm like, yeah, you can hear that chippering. They're chipping back and forth at each other and everything. And I don't know that I've ever heard that my entire life. Awesome. Because now you're going to be listening all the time. It was incredible. And it's those messages because when you're in spirit, when you're staying in that wonderful driving seat and letting the divine drive, and you get to be on this journey, it's magic everywhere at every breath. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's some bumpy roads for
Yeah.
sure, but if you're staying in that whole perspective of that's who's driving the bus, there's more that's happening, and there's way more that's happening that you're not seeing. So
Yeah.
that comes with a lot of different trust and know that I'm gonna make it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
So, oh,
Yeah.
holy
Yeah.
cow!
And
What a
instead of
show!
that movie, Don't Look Up, look up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When we had just a quick funny story to share when we had those really bad winds. I think that was last week or the week
Hmm.
before. Like it was bad, like big, huge trees are just swaying.
Yep. Hmm.
So we're going to pick up my granddaughter, and it's like, well, let's go look at the waves because we're near the lake. So it's like, let's go look at the waves.
Hmm.
So here's all these geese. And to have the joy of this and see the humor in things. So there was a flock of geese, and they were getting off the ground, but then the wind just kind of moved them all sideways, so they're like flapping. And so then we're putting voices to it, going, "Come on,
Nice.
guys, get into formation here. What are you doing?" And like they were just like in hovering, and this wind, or they just shift them this way and then they go this way. They were not flying properly.
Mhm.
And it was just the funniest thing that we ever saw. We were laughing and we were making all these funny voices and going, "Come
Nice.
on, George, you gotta get in line. Where are you going?" It's
Awesome.
pretty funny.
Where did you
But
register your flight path? This is not it.
but just to see them all, because they all left, and then it's like,
Mhm.
"Wow, we're not going anywhere."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I've never seen it before, like, neither one of us had ever seen that before, but it's like, "Oh my goodness, that's hilarious," you know? Poor birds, it's like, "Stay on the ground,
Yep.
guys." Um,
Yeah, yeah, I've been watching when we had those winds. Oof, that was scary.
yeah,
Um, unnerving for sure.
I
I'm just
guess.
so happy that I didn't have to leave the island that day.
Yeah, I was thinking
Nope.
of you, I'm thinking, "Oh, I hope he's at home and he doesn't have to go on the ferry because
It
that
probably
was
wouldn't have
silly."
mattered because nope. What I can see from this little spot sitting in my chair, I was like, "Nuh-uh. No." When and in our little canal, when we get white caps in our canal, that's not right.
No, that's not right, no.
I mean, it's tiny. Like, there's no reason we should have white caps in there. There's
No.
that much momentum. But O was like, oh, nah. I'm like, oh, and sending lots of love and safety to the crews that were out there managing it for those folks that
Right.
had to. Oh, nope, nope, and some more nope.
Yep.
And and the first time that happened, that is why I have life jackets in my truck. I
Ah,
have
that's a
four.
good idea. Never thought of that one. Really
Yep.
good
I
idea.
was like, no, nope, because it took me like 3 seconds to figure out, like, I know you have to have it on board. So everybody has to have a life jacket that's kept on board, for the ferry. If something's happening and we're going down for some reason, I'm going to have to get out of my truck. I have to go fight everybody else in the water to get to the life jacket, wherever that might be, get it on, and get back to the one, if anybody's with me, with their jacket and get it on. No, we're not even doing that. I'm just going to have it right here. And so it takes, what is it, like a half a second or something, or 30 seconds or something, that you pull the cord and it's a CO2 cartridge and
Do you have a life raft in there too that you can pull it and it blows
no,
up? Oh,
no, but it's the same. But it's individual ones. You just put them on and it's
the
not
water's kind of
inflated.
chilly though. Might want to
Yes,
raft.
you're not going to have that opportunity.
Nope.
If that's happening, that'll be
Paddle.
good enough. It will be good enough.
Yikes. Yeah.
Luckily, that's never had that theory's never had to be tested.
Thank goodness for that, because
Yeah.
that's a scary thing, and yeah, don't want that. It's
Uh,
nice to watch the high waves from the shore to go,
mm,
wow, the power
wow.
of nature is really cool.
Yeah,
Glad I'm not out on
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of those, and then same on like those videos that I watched with the big, especially like the tankers, the freighters that are out in the middle of the ocean, and some of those like 40-foot waves and stuff. I'm like, no, not no, no, because when I'm getting seasick and nervous and starting to sweat just watching a video, you are not getting my butt on board.
Look out, you see this wave that's just like
Right.
a wall, and it's like, oh boy, I think I should have stayed home today. It's nope.
Mm, mm,
That's why I will never go on a cruise because I can't see land. If I could see
oh,
land at all times, not a problem.
hmm,
But if I can't and it's just an expanse of water everywhere, as beautiful as that is,
hmm,
nope. Unless I have my own
perspective.
personal submarine or something, I'm not going on it. There's no way.
I can understand that. I won't. I don't really want to do a cruise because it's just a petri dish. So no thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I don't have a problem with the water, but all the other people on board, nope.
It'd be nice to canoe on, nice, quiet waters.
I like to have some, challenge once in a while. That's fun, but
No whitewater rafting. Uh-uh. I'll
one day
stay on
maybe.
shore.
Yeah.
Look at you go. Oh, where'd you go?
Right.
Yeah.
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 Oh, well, we probably should. Wow, a half hour show became an hour.
Yes, it did.
That's awesome.
So
So
here
much
we
fun.
are back again in 2024. We're very
Mm.
excited about the year
Yeah.
that's coming up, and we're really excited to share what lots of wonderful things and yeah, more positive possibilities. And as you see, there's lots of awesome things going on, lots of joy and happiness if you just open your eyes to look
Mm.
around. And yeah, so we'll be back next week, I believe.
Yes.
Now that we're moving through our stuff here, and we'll be here on a more regular basis. And
Yep.
not sure if we're going to be doing evenings or Monday mornings, but we will let you know. And let us know what resonated with you today. And yeah, where you're watching in from, because it's always fun to see where everybody's coming in from. And if you've got any wonderful, positive things that have happened, please share, because they're
Yes.
always nice to hear.
Yeah, because apparently we're starting a news channel.
Yeah,
So we need some news to start
we're
filling
gonna
it.
need content.
Yes. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you
I'm,
so much, Dr. Dave. Have you got any parting remarks?
I think that us chatting and just back and forth about these wonderful stories and things that are funny to us and that we've enjoyed, part of that is just because it's our choice. It's been our choice. It's who we are. Of how we love to find the fun, the happy, and the positive because it is our choice. That's just who we are. So hopefully, by this example of how silly most of that was, it's how easy it can be if you choose. So I invite you to be silly.
Hmm.
Um,
Don't be so
sprinkle that in your day.
serious.
Yeah, because we have plenty of those coming up. We've got some of those that are like gut wrenchers, like, oh, yeah, probably should do that. Oh, probably should look at that because there's times there absolutely is appropriate times, but if we don't have those balances that we can tap in here and start there to know that we can get here and have fun, it's a little less comfortable when we have to do those deeper dives and let's really get into some of this because it still needs to happen.
Right.
And when we do that, we release so much more so that we can get to those even higher highs.
Mm.
So you have to start somewhere or you don't. I
Yep.
hope you do because it is a choice. I'm not going to use it one more time, I promise.
Free will.
Yes. That's it
Have
for
a
me. So,
Well, have a wonderful evening,
mm,
everyone. And we're excited to be back, and we're excited for a wonderful year ahead with lots of different positive possibilities. So,
all of it. Thank you
yes.
so much for letting me join. Love you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.